Now I will show you how to perform this porosity experiment. As I said previously, you need an electronic mass balancer, sponge, and water. First, we'll start with determining the mass of a dry sponge. So in my case, it is 7 grams. Now, before putting the sponge into water, I will take the sink and put on my electronic mass balancer because I don't want water from saturated sponge to get into that. Now let's put this into water. Sponge, I mean. As we put this into water, sponge start to absorb water, and the empty spaces, aka voids, start to get filled with water. I will let it to properly absorb water. Now we will determine the mass of the saturated sponge. As we see, it is 77 grams, and as you saw earlier, the mass of the sink is 41 grams. And for finding out the increase in the mass of sponge, we should subtract 41 plus the mass of the dry sponge, and it will give us 29 grams. So and since the density of water is 1 gram divided by milliliter, we can also say that porous volume of the sponge is 29 grams. And you should do the step 5 times, and each time write down the mass of the saturated sponge, and at the end find the average number for your saturated average mass for your saturated sponge. And for finding the porosity, you should divide the porous volume to bulk volume and multiply it by 100. If you don't know how to find bulk volume, you should multiply its lengths, widths, and heights to each other.